Eastman Kodak Company presents the 1965 All-America Football Team. Selected by and produced in cooperation with the American Football Coaches Association. Traffic was heavy on college gridirons during the 1965 season as the new substitution rules triggered a two-platoon revolution. As a result, the All-America Football Team, for the first time in its 76-year history, is a 22-man All-America, featuring the nation's greatest offensive and defensive stars. The swing to platoons spotlighted such exciting defensive standouts as halfback Nick Rassus of Notre Dame. Rassus, a Chicagoan whose dad played end for the Irish in the 30s, grabbed off key interceptions in 4 Notre Dame victories. And here he goes, all the way against California, 45 yards and a touchdown. Northwestern's ball. The score tied. The Wildcats go to the air. And Rassus goes into action. It's a 92-yard game-breaking touchdown for Notre Dame. Rassus also ranked #1 among the nation's punt return leaders with a 22-yard average, including this 72-yard dazzler. The coaches picked Johnny Rowland of Missouri as running mate with Rassus in the defensive secondary. Did we say running mate? Watch Rowland, a senior from Corpus Christi, Texas, ramble on this punt return. Johnny's on the loose for 52 yards. At 6'2" and 207 pounds, Rowland was a lightning-fast defender against passes. Here, Johnny puts the stopper on an Arkansas drive. Coach Warmoth of Minnesota called Rowland the best defensive back I've seen in years. And here's why. The ball's in the air. Rowland's on the ball. And Missouri's in scoring position. Without this versatile fellow, defensive back George Webster of Michigan State, no All-America secondary would be complete. Rangy and rugged, 6'4" and 204 pounds, Webster belted ball carriers with the crashing authority of a linebacker. And Webster possessed blazing speed, the speed you need to break up short passes in the flat like this. Spartan coach Duffy Daugherty gave Webster just one assignment: follow that football. And George really obeyed orders. A junior from Addison, South Carolina, Webster ignited the Spartans' winning touchdown drive against arch-enemy Michigan. Talk about quick reflexes. Watch this interception. Tommy Novus of Texas, an overwhelming choice for All-America linebacker, established himself as one of the all-time Southwest Conference greats. Novus was in the thick of almost every play, covering the field from sideline to sideline. A 230-pounder from San Antonio, Novus really threw his weight around. Here, Tommy sizes up the play and belts the ball carrier. Novus led Texas to triumphs in the 1963 Cotton Bowl and the 1964 Orange Bowl. Some Novus admirers thought Tommy might have made a great fullback. As this interception demonstrates, once Novus gets started, he's awfully tough to stop. Another Southwest standout, Carl McAdams of Oklahoma, was named to the other linebacker post in the 1965 All-America lineup. McAdams, a senior from White Deer, Texas, goes straight for the ball carrier and gets his man with a shoestring tackle. McAdams, number 51 in black jersey, played fullback in high school. Here he flashes the speed of a fullback to overtake the ball carrier. At 6'3" and 215 pounds, McAdams crashed runners head on and drove them back, like this. But it was McAdams' tremendous range which most impressed coaches. Nobody traveled farther or knocked them down harder than Oklahoma's Carl McAdams. And speaking of Southwestern standouts, here's Coach Abe Martin of Texas Christian, president of the American Football Coaches Association. Like famous coaches everywhere, Martin spends hundreds of hours in the projection room, studying game movies and grading the work of the players. These game movie studies, developed with the aid and technical help of the Eastman Kodak Company, are the basis for the coach's annual All-America selections. For only by comparing the game movie evidence on leading players from every part of the country can the coaches select the nation's greatest stars. All-America defensive end Charles Bubba Smith bulwarked the massive front line which sparked Michigan State to the national championship. Bubba Smith, a native of Beaumont, Texas, was one of the biggest players in college football, 6'6" and 240 pounds. He's 20 years old, only a junior, and still growing. Nobody moved Smith around or moved around Smith. If you were a quarterback, a passing quarterback that is, you wouldn't like Bubba Smith. You wouldn't like him at all. Now watch this play carefully. According to Penn State coach Rip Engel, this fellow running with the ball is, quote, the fastest halfback of my team, unquote. The fellow chasing him is All-America end Charles Bubba Smith of Michigan State. Are there any questions? Tony Jeter of Nebraska's Big 8 champions was the other All-America defensive end selection. A versatile two-way performer, Jeter excelled at racing downfield for the long bomb pass. Like this 70-yarder, a highlight of the 1964 Orange Bowl battle. Jeter is 6'3", 227 pounds, lives in Weirton, West Virginia, and likes to travel. This time it's for 68 yards on another touchdown spectacular. Lloyd Phillips of Arkansas, Southwest Conference champions, fills one defensive tackle position in the 65 All-America lineup. Phillips uses his powerful arms to fight off blockers, then reaches out to halt the runner. Here's Phillips, number 70 in black, quickly sheds a blocker, then dumps the ball carrier, but hard. Here's a play which could be used to illustrate a football textbook. Another defensive masterpiece executed by Arkansas's Lloyd Phillips, a 6'1", 220-pound All-American from Longview, Texas. Bill Yerby of Michigan occupies the other tackle position in our All-America defensive platoon. Yerby, number 75 in black, a 3-year standout in Big Ten competition, dives headlong to trip up the ball carrier and forces a fumble. Yerby, 6'3" and 222 pounds, lives in Detroit. Watch him get under this play to pile up the runner. Walt Barnes of Nebraska, rated the finest lineman in the Big 8, was the coach's choice for one of the All-American defensive guard positions. Barnes, a burly Chicagoan, 6'3" and 234 pounds, is the kind of a tackler who throws himself into his work. And that was only a warm-up. Watch Walt on this one. He's airborne. And this rocket shot results in a block kick and another touchdown opportunity for Nebraska. The coach has also selected Jerry Shea of Purdue as guard with the All-American defensive platoon. Shea, number 73 in black, a 230-pounder from Gary, Indiana, was extremely agile for a big man. How's this for fancy footwork? Shea was hard to move, near the goal line. Watch him pile up this power play and stop a touchdown bid. And Howard Twilley of Tulsa leads off our offensive lineup. Twilley grabbed 16 TD passes and ran up 127 points to win national scoring honors. Over 3 seasons, he amassed 254 points, an all-time record for collegiate receivers. They say Twilley can catch any pass he can touch. And this leaping completion proves it. Whether the pass is high or low, Twilley's there to make the catch. The defense overshifts left to put 3 men on Twilley. But Howard cuts back into the middle, and it's another touchdown. Twilley runs this down-and-out pattern beautifully. No wonder he's the pride of his hometown, Salina, Texas. Now watch closely for a rare example of end-zone acrobatics. It's a touchdown and an admiring handshake for Tulsa's Twilley. Charlie Casey of Florida won All-America honors at offensive end by leading Southeastern Conference pass catchers for 2 seasons. Casey, number 89, operated as a spread left end, lining up wide on the flank. And upsetting defenders with his unpredictable maneuvers, sometimes faking deep, then curling back, like this. Casey, a 6'2", 199-pounder from Atlanta, used his tremendous reach to pick off the high ones. Watch. Here's an example of Casey's artful maneuvering under heavy guard deep in touchdown territory. Another 6-pointer for Florida's All-American end, Charlie Casey. Glenn Ray Hines of Arkansas earned All-America rating at offensive tackle with explosive and consistent blocking. On straight-ahead blocks, Hines, number 78, cleared the way like a bulldozer. Hines, number 78 in black, also was adept at blasting a path by driving his man to the inside, like this. .6'5", 235 pounds, Hines lives in El Dorado, Arkansas. Now he opens another huge hole in the line. Glenn Ray Hines puts his big shoulders into another driving block. And the Arkansas Razorbacks grind out another first down. The coach has also named tackle Sam Ball of Kentucky to the All-America offensive platoon. Ball, number 73 in white, was superlative in blocking for the passer. Ball from Henderson, Kentucky. Delivers another jolting block for his quarterback. Slam and Sam. He's 6'4" and 240 pounds. Really jolts him. Versatile, hard-hitting guard Doug Van Horn of Ohio State is one All-American who made good in his own hometown, Columbus, Ohio. Coaches cited Van Horn in white jersey for his power blocks. At 6'2" and 236, Doug generated plenty of power. Van Horn moves out and nails his man. A perfect knockdown and a sizable gain for the Buckeyes. Rugged and durable, Van Horn also performed double duty at defensive tackle. Here he closes the gap and trips up the ball carrier. Powerful Dick Arrington of Notre Dame also earned All-America rank at guard on offense. Arrington, number 63 in black jersey, was the key blocker in Notre Dame's powerful ground attack. Amazingly mobile for a 232-pounder, Arrington pulls to the right and blocks his man. A perfect takeout. Arrington lives in Erie, Pennsylvania, and captained the Irish wrestling team. Watch him take out 3 men. To spring halfback Nick Eddy loose against North Carolina. A 66-yard touchdown gallop behind the blocking of All-America guard Dick Arrington. Paul Crane of Alabama was an overwhelming choice for All-America center on the coach's offensive team. Crane, number 54, over the ball, delivered devastating blocks after making the snap. And that's just about the toughest of all blocking assignments. Crane gets set. Maneuvers for blocking position beautifully. Drops his man and paves the way for a long gainer. Ace passer Bob Greasy of Purdue is the quarterback and the coach's star-studded All-America backfield. Watch Greasy, number 12, behind center. In slow motion as he lofts a perfect touchdown toss against Notre Dame. And Greasy knows how and when to scramble. Seemingly trapped, with all receivers covered, he takes off and picks up 15 yards on his own. Here's the tough pass. Moving left and throwing back to the right. But Greasy makes it look easy. And what a catch. Greasy, 6'1" and 185 pounds, lives in Evansville, Indiana. He's a junior, and Purdue fans are looking forward happily to watching Bob throw many more TDs like this one in 1966. Power runner Jim Grabowski not only earned All-America honors at fullback, he also shattered the rushing records of another famous runner from Illinois named Harold Red Grange. Speed to the outside was Grabowski's trademark. Jim topped the 1,000-yard mark in rushing in both 1964 and 65. Grabowski, a Chicagoan, is 6'2" and weighs 211 pounds. For a big fellow, Jim really moves in a hurry. This touchdown came on January 1st, 1964, when, as a sophomore, he won Most Valuable Player honors to help Illinois crush Washington in the Rose Bowl. Now, as a senior, he's All-American Jim Grabowski. Meet Floyd Little of Syracuse, who made a brilliant bid for an All-America halfback position, which finally was awarded to Don Anderson of Texas Tech by the slenderest of margins. Little wore number 44, made famous by all-time Syracuse greats Jim Brown and Ernie Davis, and he wore it with distinction. Little was a master of the cutback. rolling up 19 touchdowns and 114 points to place high in national scoring honors. Give Little just a little daylight, and he's on his way. For 96 yards and a touchdown on this spectacular punt return. Don Addison of Texas Tech was awarded All-America rating at halfback for consistently outstanding performances over 3 seasons. A superb receiver from his wingback position, Addison, number 44, picks up first down yardage. Addison, number 44, advanced the ball more than 5,000 yards in 3 years of rushing, kick returns, pass receiving, and interceptions. 6'3" and 210 pounds, Addison ran with great power, but it was his speed and height which made him one of the nation's most dangerous pass receivers. Here he breaks loose for 47 yards against Arkansas. Now watch Don Addison, All-America halfback from Stinnett, Texas, making one of the most spectacular catches of the year. One-handed, off balance, falling down, but he holds on to the ball. But the real high-flying halfback on the 65 All-America was Mike Garrett of Southern California, the Heisman Award winner who topped all the backs in the coach's battle team. Garrett's specialty was the off-tackle slant, as he rolled up 3,221 yards to set an NCAA rushing record for a 3-year career. 5'11", 189 pounds, Garrett packed the fullback's punch. He's up and over for the TD. On punt returns, Garrett's fakes and fancy footwork simply dazzled opposing tacklers. Here's a prime example. When the inside route was blocked, Garrett had that extra burst of speed to go wide and still make the end zone. A native of Los Angeles, Mike Garrett thrilled many a Coliseum crowd with his long breakaway runs. Like this 80-yard touchdown special. Now, let's review the official lineup of the 1965 All-America football team, selected by the American Football Coaches Association. The offensive team: end, Twilley, Tulsa. Tackle, Hines, Arkansas. Guard, Arrington, Notre Dame. Center, Crane, Alabama. Guard, Van Horn, Ohio State. Tackle, Ball, Kentucky. End, Casey, Florida. Quarterback, Greasy, Purdue. Halfback, Garrett, Southern Cal. Halfback, Anderson, Texas Tech. Fullback, Grabowski, Illinois. The defensive team: end, Smith, Michigan State. Tackle, Phillips, Arkansas. Guard, Shea, Purdue. Guard, Barnes, Nebraska. Tackle, Yerby, Michigan. End, Jeter, Nebraska. Linebacker, McAdams, Oklahoma. Linebacker, Novus, Texas. Defensive back, Rassus, Notre Dame. Defensive back, Webster, Michigan State. Defensive back, Rowland, Missouri. Now a closing word from Abe Martin, President of the American Football Coaches Association.
And now, speaking for the American Football Coaches Association, let me say thanks to all you fans whose enthusiasm makes college football our most exciting sport. And our thanks also to Eastman Kodak Company for presenting our All-America movie.